Thanks for taking time out just to review kind of some of the stuff I want to project. I'm in the creative industry and I'm trying to inject a little positivity and hope. I know things are looking bleak, but with that comes financial responsibility as well as being able to stay creative and stay focused and kind of looking past all of this and strategizing towards what things could look like at the end of it. So really, really glad to have a conversation with you and discuss some ideas. So I will be sharing this within the creative community.
Okay.
And so it's really informal discussion just on kind of, your state of being, how your business is doing and all of this, as well as gaining some insight and some things that can potentially help people.
Oh, that's awesome. That's great that you're doing this to inject some hope because a lot of people are feeling hopeless right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Have you already spoken with a lot of other people, or is this kind of the first one?
No, this is the third or fourth. I have another this afternoon, and then I've got a growing list of people I'd like to bring in, just because, as a creative, we're always looking for new ways to stay creative. It's typically always, as a photographer, it's always like, oh, I want to do this new thing with this new equipment or try this new technique. But in today's situation, I want to also, bring in some different insights. So I have painters coming on, some photographers, some.
How cool.
Just trying to mix it up and give some people some different ideas and things to think about.
Sure. Okay.
So if you want to start just kind of by telling everyone, who you are, what you do, and what your spiel is.
Well, if I knew I was being recorded, I'd have had a full face of makeup. And no, I'm just kidding. It's good. I'm in my natural state. So I'm Lylian. I'm honored to be considered a creative. That's nice because I always admire other creatives. I think I have a creative nature, but I never really would call myself a creative. As you know, I have a background in healthcare. I've been a registered nurse in a hospital here in Oakland for almost 14 years. So we're seeing the impact of the coronavirus firsthand. Really grateful to my colleagues, doctors and nurses who are just putting their lives at risk to take care of the community. As far as creative work, I have always wanted to, model, for probably 14 years. I never really pursued it. Eventually got into pageantry, and that led into a lot of work with photographers. So every pageant I've done, I've stayed friends with the photographers. And so that's been really nice over the years. When I need to have a photo shoot, then I'll just kind of call them up and they're building their portfolio and I'm building mine, and we have a lot of trade time. So that's been nice, just learning how to pose. Photographers really help you with your posing and where light's coming from and angles. And so I have a lot of good friends who are photographers. Videographers, not so much. Artists, I know a couple. People who make clothing and jewelry, definitely a lot of them who do like Afrocentric things. I love being able to highlight what they do. But I do that mostly like as a hobby. I definitely don't rely on that as an income. I think I've only had one paid modeling gig, which I did for a wedding magazine. That was the only one. Otherwise, I just do it for fun, showing up for like it's not the Chinese New Year festival, there's another name for it, the Lunar New Year, right? So different things like that, I really do enjoy. I think I enjoy moving my body, whether it's fitness, modeling, dancing. So I really appreciate the creative community, and you probably are not reimbursed enough, especially at times like this. Some people may consider that non-essential, but it is essential. We really need it just to keep our lives happy. Mm-hmm. So that's just a little background about me. But right now, what's keeping me afloat, even though I've been in nursing for a long time, I transitioned to doing that only part-time. And I transitioned into financial services like I was sharing with you the other day. Thanks for getting on that call, by the way.
Yeah.
And, the way the markets are crashing right now and people are losing jobs, I am actually busier than I have ever been, just trying to guide people to understand how their money is working, how they can protect it, and how they can even develop a side income, when their primary income is suffering. So that's where I'm at now. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, with that, you're busier now than ever. Like, what's been the biggest pivot point, and what advice are you giving people, or how are you, what do you see that's most important right now?
So I think it's just really preparing for recession times, right? Getting really wise about your spending. Like, that's one of the simplest things we can do. What I see with a lot of people I talk to, where many of us are pretty ignorant about our spending. And when we I've been doing complimentary financial reviews, and part of that is just looking at your spending. How much are you spending on utilities, on your phone, on food, on clothing? A lot of people are just not aware. How much are you paying on credit cards? And then how much are you paying on subscriptions? Subscriptions that you get and you forget about, and they're automatically charging your account. You could be spending 50, 60, $70 a month on subscriptions. And then just showing people how to protect themselves and to protect their money. So I work with people from all net worths, whether they're making 50,000 a year or 500,000 a year. A lot of people are losing money in the variable markets right now. Many of those are close to retirement. So then I'm just showing them how to put guarantees on their money while they can still not sacrifice the growth potential. And so just giving people complimentary, individualized reviews is a great step, because people need to know where they're at. So just prepping for a recession, knowing that we can't keep spending the way we've been spending for a long time. Really simple things like that are helpful. And sometimes having an outside person to coach you on that helps you with the accountability piece, because how many of us say, I'm going to do that next Monday, but 3 years later, we haven't done it. So that's what I've enjoyed the most, just kind of giving people that aha moment of, oh my goodness, this is what I'm doing, and these are the small changes I can make to improve my situation without necessarily spending more money, actually saving more money. That's the biggest pivot that I've seen.
Right. So with the current state of things, would it be recommended to spend less or to continue to spend? And the reason I ask is I was talking with a photographer yesterday, photographer/video, and we were kind of discussing, like, in this slower time for us, because obviously we can't go out and work, where do we spend our resources? Where do we spend our time? For those that have a little extra in their savings, would it be wise to take on the project yourself, or would it be wise to bring in someone that can edit for you or do some of these projects to kind of sustain the market for these other people that may not have a month-to-month ability to generate revenue?
Wow, that's a great question. I would just, not being a photographer, I guess I can just kind of think as a person who may not have a reliable or predictable income. It's just thinking through what makes sense as far as your time and money, because you can spend money, but you can also spend time, right? And time is even more lucrative, I say, because you're not going to gain that time back. So sometimes it makes more sense to bring someone on to do something that would take you 4 hours, but those 4 hours could be leveraged to do something more valuable. So if you can leverage someone else to take care of something that is going to kind of waste your time, it won't bring you as much value to spend that time, sure, why not help other people also have some extra income, and then it's a win-win for both of you. But in some situations, if you're really strapped for savings, then you don't have the luxury of leveraging someone else. You may have to go and do that project yourself and be able to have that source of income. So it's just a, kind of a cost benefit analysis of what's more important. Is it your time or is it the money? And if you're giving up the time, could you have spent that time bringing more value elsewhere? So.
Right. Yeah, it's a good point. And I think that's, for a lot of people, they may be on the side where they just need to generate revenue. And so
Right.
they don't have the reserve, so to speak, to to kind of make it through this. So they've got to maybe wholesale or decrease the cost of their services to try to generate some. And those that have the reserve could potentially hire those people, maybe getting a little bit of a deal, not taking advantage of it, but to be able to continue pushing where they are. So again, it's the different levels of where people are in their business.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe even just splitting it, right? Maybe doing it together and going 50-50 on it.
Yeah.
Versus one person totally taking it. But
right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you're looking at the whole situation with this, I mean, how do you see that it compares to the 2008 recession?
Wow, in 2008, where was I in 2008? I was 2 years into my nursing career. Again, nursing was already a very secure line of work. So I've been fortunate that every time a recession hits, I'm in a recession-proof line of work, whether it be healthcare or financial services. But I do remember all my friends around me just losing jobs, accountants losing jobs, a lot of professionals losing work. And it seems like we're preparing for the same kind of thing here, people in the service industry, hotels, restaurants. I mean, the layoffs are already, unfortunately, coming.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we prepare for that? I think it's going to be tough. It's really going to be tough. I remember the bailouts, right? People getting that extra $1,000 when they file their taxes, or $2,000 or whatever it might be. I think for me, I really have to thank my parents, because just listening to their advice, they've always kind of seen ahead and guided me on how to be in like a recession-proof business. So even though I do creative stuff on the side, and I really wish I would be able to do that all the time, I wish I could be able to model Monday to Sunday and shoot videos and just, live that kind of life and do interviews. But I know that realistically, that may not be able to keep me afloat financially. So considering diverse ways of adding to your income, side hustles, as people call them, just being creative. There's a lot of ways to make an extra income on the side, and updating your resume, talking to different people, looking online, and just staying ahead of it, because unfortunately it's here again.
Yeah. How long do you think it's going to last this round?
Wow, you have a lot of faith in me. I don't know. Nobody knows, right? Nobody knows. I mean, I was presenting some things to a client the other day, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna rebound," And there's a great article that someone wrote that looked at how long it took for each time for the market to rebound, and it's like back in the 50s, the rebound would come back in like a year, because the crashes weren't as heavy. But then 2008, it took like 6 to 8 years to rebound. And then we had 2000, after the dot-com bubble burst, right?
Mm-hmm.
It took like 6-8 years to rebound. And then we had the 2008 crash, right? And then we've had this boom, boom, boom for just amazing bull market. And then now look at the 30% crash just in the last few weeks. I mean, I know people who've lost 100, 200, 300,000 in the market.
Mm-hmm.
And so do they have 8 years to wait for it to just get back from negative to zero? So we really have to be, proactive, Just like you cannot wait for a photo shoot to go work out at the gym so you look fit in your shoot, you have to work out months before the shoot, right? It's the same thing in financial fitness. I like to call it financial fitness. You can't wait for a crash to prepare. Like you can't wait for the next 3 months to think about, oh my gosh, how am I going to rebound from this? Like you need to be doing the work now. We need to have been doing the work yesterday. So if we didn't do it yesterday, might as well start now. Find a financial coach. Just find someone to kind of guide you. There's so many of us out there who do it on a complimentary basis, that people just take that extra little coaching help and prep, because we can't predict it. It may be a year, maybe 2, maybe just based on the last few instances, and maybe 6 or 8 years.
Yeah, I know there's been discussion on the type of rebound. I think they have a V curve or a V comeback, like more of a swooping arc, or, you know, more of an L where it just kind of flatlines for a while. Which is really, really interesting to think about, and the different ways that it can come back. And like you said, it could take 6 to 8 years, could take 2 years. I mean, we don't know. I think we're still in the beginning phase of this. And
then it's really individualized, right? Because even if the state of the economy improves for the country, if you as a person don't have a job, your state doesn't change, right?
correct.
So it's truly individualized, and that's why we have to think about it from a community standpoint, but also from an individual standpoint. The stronger each individual is, then the stronger the community is as a whole, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I just put a lot of value in that personalized individual planning. You know, just like if you go, I like to use a lot of fitness references because that's my that's my first love. But yeah, if you go to the gym and you're in a group training, okay, sure, it's going to be cheaper. That's what I did. I did group training, but the trainer can't give you as much individual attention. But when you get a personal trainer, then they're guiding you on the exact, specific, tailor-made things for your situation, for your body type, for your meal plan, for your allergies or food dislikes, whatever it might be. So I think people as individuals really need to take it seriously, to just respect themselves and honor themselves enough to get that individualized support. Because, you know, that's what I got from someone else 3 years ago, and it just changed the trajectory of my financial life. You know, I'd been looking for an advisor for years and came across people who wouldn't talk to me unless I had $250,000. And then I came across a lady who came to my home and spent 3 different appointments, didn't charge me any fee, just teaching me about how money works and how I can be secure. And I'm like, oh, wow, I need a financial fitness coach. And so, I mean, just imagine if you know all the options that are available to you financially, how much different your life can be, right? So that's what I've just really enjoyed. Even though this is a really tough time, it's making people's ears more open, you know? When people are desperate, they listen a little bit more. And so then we're able to get in there and support them at their level.
I mean, with all of the fitness references, I have to ask, like, how are you handling not being able to go to the gym?
It's been interesting. Yeah, you see my Facebook posts. I'm like, check on us, gym addicts. We're not doing so well with these home workouts. It's definitely not the same. You know, I use a lot of equipment in my workouts. You know, I like to use the machines. I like to get under the squat rack. I like to, you know, be able to bench press, different things like that. But honestly, there's ways to modify it. So I hadn't worked out for like 2 or 3 days in a row, and then I got over it and just started doing some home workouts. And then I'm going live on Facebook just to give people ideas on how to still move your body and do what you need to do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I know. I mean, same for me. I mean, I was in the gym every day pretty much. And then, you know, I got busy, and then think that pattern started to dip a little bit. And now it's even harder. So I find myself doing sit-ups like every half an hour, doing push-ups, jumping jacks, just trying to like stay motivated, and then, you know, getting out and walking. I'm not a big fitness class type of person. I'm more of I go in and it's more meditative for me, but it's definitely been a challenge not having access to any of that.
Oh, you're doing good. If you're doing sit-ups every half hour, every hour, that's awesome. You're going to have a six-pack in 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
That's great.
You've actually answered quite a few of the questions that I had.
Great.
You've been very, very helpful. I think, you know, being that people are in, you know, a state of concern or a state of wonder, if they wanted to get a hold of you, how would that happen?
So I am big on texting, but I'll take phone calls or emails. I'll give you the phone number or the email that's good to reach me. It's 510-502-3134. And my email is really easy. Lylian, my first name, Lylian, fit, F-I-T, so lylianfit@gmail.com.
Okay, excellent. Well, Lillian, I really appreciate the time that you've shared today and all of the insightful knowledge. And potentially I would love to chat with you again in a couple of weeks and see how your business is doing and how you're feeling and some of the insight that you've shared along the way.
No, that's great. Thank you so much. I wish I could ask you some questions and get to know you better as well. So we definitely need to do that the
Yes.
next time around as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, tell your viewers not to judge me, okay? I didn't know we're gonna be recording, and so I'm just all natural.
Yeah. You look great. Yeah, no worries.
Yes, great. All right, thank you, Sean.
And we'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.